basement.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening.
Good all of the things.
What's going on, everybody?
Yeah, how's everybody doing? How did everybody do this week? This is a big week for
Hopefully
potentially
you did
clinching.
better than me.
Bad week for you?
I
Well,
lost
you
to
lost
you.
our man.
I lost to you. So that
Yeah,
automatically.
well, you're still gonna make the playoffs.
Yeah, that automatically hurts though, man.
Well, true. I stay in pole position for a bye week in our.
In a game where you didn't have
keep-
Antonio Brown, AJ Brown, Nick Chubb, Kamara.
Yeah, you lost to all my backups.
I lost to your backups. In my defense, I didn't have my quarterback one or QB one, or wide receiver one. So
True.
is what it is.
True. You did not. But yeah, I needed that. I need
let's
that win
hope-
to stay alive
Let's hope
for a bye week.
everybody in here, the three people, I guess, that are in here with us right now. Let's hope y'all won. What's going on, Theo? What's going on, Richie?
Yeah, what's going on, guys? Theo, we'll be in touch. Don't worry about it. We'll
Yes,
figure
sir.
something out. Yeah. I want to know how everybody did this week. Obviously, this is either a week to potentially clinch or just stay alive for the playoff race. So let us know how things went. But obviously, this is a big week. We're basically down to a month left of the fantasy season.
Don't say that.
It's just facts. That's all.
Don't say that. I don't want to hear
facts. That's all.
that. I know Richie doesn't want to hear that. He says, I need help at tight end with Logan Thomas out and Gesicki on bye. Any suggestions? Komet, Hooper, and Ingram are available. Out of those three guys, I'd be choosing Komet.
He keeps getting touchdowns stolen away from him by Jimmy Graham.
At some point, it'll go the other way. He's getting way more snaps, way more usage. He's been good if you're in a PPR league. So, Richie, are you in a PPR league?
I think I'd go Hooper.
Really?
Yeah,
What's the status on Njoku?
that's a good question. I'm not 100% sure. All I know is the Ravens are
Browns placed Njoku on the reserve COVID list. So, I guess...
could miss week 14. I didn't even know that. I was just
guess,
looking at the
yeah.
matchup. I'd go Hooper.
This
Komet
week,
keeps getting
since you need
touchdowns
if you need a
altered.
1 week streamer for tight end, yeah, I mean, this is the
I'd
week
go
to play
Hooper.
Hooper.
Yeah,
I don't like Hooper
especially
normally.
if Njoku is
If
out.
Njoku was playing, I'd be off of him. I'd be saying go with Komet. But with no Njoku this week, I'm with you. Go Hooper.
Yeah, I think Hooper. The matchup is favorable, much more favorable than Komet's matchup. And if he's going to get 100% of the snaps with Njoku potentially out, Hooper's the call here. I think Ingram can be left on waivers everywhere.
I mean, it might be different if he was playing with Daniel Jones, but he's not.
Nah,
Now he's
stink.
playing with Jake Fromm because Mike Glennon is injured. So now it's Jake Fromm, their third string quarterback, who they signed off of a practice squad. From
Jake
the
from
Bills.
State Farm.
Yeah. So it doesn't look good there, but we'd be going Hooper, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think the matchup and potentially being the clear-cut guy with only Jarvis Landry and Donovan Peoples-Jones is there, but the passing game is wide open in Cleveland. So yeah, I would go Hooper.
And we got another tight end question from Trey. Needs help
Sure.
in
What's
redraft
up, Trey?
full PPR. Should I pick up Ingram, who we just said we don't like,
Yeah.
or Seals Jones? Because
Yeah.
it looks like Logan Thomas is out for the rest of the year.
So there was originally the diagnosis was, let me make sure that nothing has changed here. The MRI originally said that he had a torn ACL, but then it was later stated that that's not confirmed. Yesterday, head coach Ron Rivera said that the MRI did not reveal a torn ACL, but it sounds like he suffered MCL damage. Regardless, whatever is the case, the diagnosis sounds bad enough where we can expect Logan Thomas to miss at least a week. So I would go Seals Jones. The matchup is good for Ingram by the numbers, but Ingram is not trustworthy in any matchup. Good, bad, medium.
What I will
the
say about
quarterback
Seals
is.
Jones is he was Ricky Seals-Jones was out with a hip issue.
But he had returned to practice this week. So
Fair.
It's not like he himself is also out.
Yeah, but I've seen way more of I believe his name is John Bates.
Yeah,
The past few weeks I'd be wary of a chance where like he plays 40 to 50% of the snaps there and splits work with Seals-Jones.
Sure,
I know we didn't see that early in the season, but John Bates is a rookie. He seems to be coming on and earning some more work, standalone work himself.
I can't trust most rookie tight ends. I mean, I'm not picking up Ingram. That's that.
Is there anybody else out there?
I think Seals-Jones is a fine fill-in. I mean, he had some tight end 1 weeks filling in for Logan Thomas this year. Sorry,
right, when John Bates wasn't when they weren't fully ready to throw John Bates out there, and they have recently. So I guess out of the two, if you had to choose between Ingram and Seals-Jones, I'm going Seals-Jones.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean,
but there's got to be somebody else out there. Is there? Let us
Bates
know, Trey, if there are anybody.
Targets, 1 target, 3 targets the past few weeks.
He's been getting involved. He's been getting involved.
Seals-Jones returned to practice this week with limited sessions. He was inactive, but also Logan Thomas went into the game healthy. He says nobody else out there. I'd say Seals-Jones, and then honestly, if Seals-Jones is out with this hip injury, then is Bates out there? Because I would play that guy. I would play Bates over Ingram.
Well, let us know who's out there altogether.
He said nobody. There's nobody else is out there. He's saying that he says nobody else out there. Okay. I mean, if Bates is out there, I would keep an eye on the practice reports this week. If Seals-Jones can't go, I would play a guy like Bates, who at least has seen 7 targets in his past 3 games, over Evan Ingram, who is the least trustworthy option. Like
out there, yeah.
Out there. Being available in a 16-team league.
Yeah, the fact that Ingram is available on your wire in a 16-team league when he is the starting tight end for a team says all you need to know about Mark Ingram. Or not Mark Ingram, Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram. Yeah. Ricky Seals-Jones, I guess, and then see if John Bates is out there. I agree with that. Yep. AB, what's going on?
What's up, AB?
Mr. Heinen, Denver D or Green Bay D?
Both good matchups. Denver hosts the Lions. The Packers host the Bears coming out of their bye week, who will either play a banged up Justin Fields.
I do not think they're playing Justin Fields. It looks like they're reevaluating whether or not he's going to be playing for the rest of the year.
I would think if he's healthy, they'll want to get him an opportunity.
Bears head coach Matt Nagy said the team is having an ongoing discussion about Justin Fields' rib injury and his Week 14 status.
Okay, I mean, I don't buy anything Matt Nagy says, but
I mean, he also said he's never gonna put Fields at risk medically,
which I guess is good.
It's good, but I think that means that I don't think Fields is playing this next week.
Okay.
I think it's going to be Dalton again.
I think it's a pretty I think it's a coin flip. If you're worried about the possible weirdness of a division game, because at least the Bears play the Packers twice a year every year.
I'd be going Denver.
There are certain things that the Bears know about the Packers franchise, for better or worse, that other teams might not have like an inkling on.
I'd be going Denver. They're playing the Lions.
I think I would give a slight edge to Denver. Nothing scary about that matchup. Pretty favorable playing the Lions.
I know Green Bay is going to be playing a backup or a rookie, regardless of whoever plays. It's either a backup or a rookie. But Goff on the Lions is basically a backup. He'd be a backup on almost any other team. He's a backup caliber quarterback. So that doesn't sway it in one favor either, or it doesn't sway me over to Green Bay because they're playing a rookie or a backup. I'd be going Denver. They're a strong unit. And the Lions are terrible. The Lions are terrible, dude. And without Swift,
They won.
Are they still without Swift?
It's certainly possible. It was reported. Yeah, and this was reported last week that he's a likely long shot for this week. This was last week, so you never know if there's going to be like a miraculous recovery in practice, but the Lions are going to be cautious with DeAndre Swift for the rest of this season. So I would be willing to say, with that report in mind, he's on the wrong side of 50-50.
Yeah, and we'd be going Denver, Mr. Heinen.
Yeah, I would go Denver.
Daggers, thanks for joining us. What's going on, bro? Thoughts on KJ Osborne and how much fab?
Yeah,
I did not check out your you did a waiver vid earlier today. I didn't
he's
was he in there?
He is in there. Osborne is absolutely in there. And I think he's a decent option this week in a favorable matchup where the Steelers are could be without Joe Hayden once again. They already give up plenty of points to the wide receiver position by their numbers, and Adam Thielen is already looking like a long shot to play.
Yep.
So somebody's going to have to step up. Justin Jefferson's probably going to see all the double coverage Pittsburgh can afford to throw at him. So somebody's going to have to be available to beat one-on-one coverage. There's not much in the receiving core for Minnesota behind Osborne with Thielen out. So he's going to be the favorite to be the starter. So it's going to be him and Ty Conklin who are going to have to step up. Osborne is absolutely viable. I'm always leery about short weeks, just players playing on a short week, especially after they play, a significant role the Sunday before. There's always a little bit of concern there. But the Vikings are going to be down Dalvin Cook again, most likely. It sounds like they're not going to have Adam Thielen for this game, so they may have no choice but to give Osborne all the work he can handle. So if you're wide receiver needy, if you really need a play this week, if you need a spot start, go 20% of your FOB. Are there other teams, not just your opponent, are there other teams in your league, Daggers, that you're looking at where it's like, this guy needs a wide receiver stream, this guy needs a wide receiver stream? Like, if you're on an island here by yourself where you feel like you can get by with using 10% of your FOB to pick Osborne up, then do it. But if you
at this point in the game, at this point in where we are in the league schedule, we're almost to the playoffs. Use all your FAB. If you have FAB left, and we have 1 week to make the playoff until the playoffs, use all your FAB. I wouldn't be worrying about.
Well, it depends whether anybody else in the league has... It's a situation by situation basis, right? If you're comfortably in the playoffs, but you could use a win because playoff seeds or an opportunity for a bye week or whatever, maybe you want to have a little bit of FOB left over going into the playoffs. But if you're like
a guy, go get the guy. Throw in all your FAB.
If you're 6-7, if you're right on the edge and you need a win, then yes, like just go get the guy who you think is going to be a strong stream. But I would say 10% of your FOB should get it done. If there are other guys in your league who are not in your situation, maybe upwards of 20-25% of your FOB if there are guys who could also use a wide receiver stream.
My thoughts are just, if at this point in the game, go and get your guy, spend as much money as you need to go and get the guy that you want. Now, most people have, not most, a lot of people will have run out of FAB already. And you don't want to be playing a game where you have FAB left over that just because you didn't put in a full bid, you missed out on getting a player that you wanted. If you want a player and you have FAB left over right now, put all your FAB in. Because there's no point to having FAB at the end of the season. At the end of the fantasy season, there's no point to having unused FAB.
Well, yeah, at the end, but if you've got a little bit going into the playoffs, that's not a bad thing. So it depends on your specific situation. At this point,
but if you want KJ Osborne going into the playoffs, get him now and spend all your FAB.
Well, yeah,
if you want somebody on your team for going into the playoffs, if you need a wide receiver this week, if you need a wide receiver stream, and there are other guys that are in a similar situation, then yeah, bid up for him. But if you're in the playoffs
and like maybe you could afford to get by with 10% of your fob because you'll have guys coming back for the playoffs, but then you can use that fob for other pickups when you're physically in the playoffs. If your spot is pretty safe right now, if not already clinched, then you don't necessarily have to go ballistic. It's a situational it's a case by case basis. I would not say like, oh, just get him. You know, it depends on the specific situation. But that's how I would approach it. Like if you need a win because you're on the outside looking in, yeah, go get him. But if that's not the case, then maybe save a little some if you know you're going to make it.
Even if you know you're going to make it and you want somebody on your team, go and get it. But the odds are, if you know you're going to make it and you have that good of a team as is, you're not going to need to spend the fab in the playoffs.
All it takes is one injury.
Right, but you should have prepared for that already. Regardless, spend all your fab.
You can't prepare for every single potential scenario.
If you, we've advocated, we don't have to spend too much more time on this, but we've advocated for handcuffing as we get closer to the playoffs. And if you're picking up a wide receiver now, then odds are it wouldn't be a 1 week stream. If I'm of the belief, go get your guy at this point. If you want a guy on your team, spend what you have to get him. Throw in all your fab. There's no use to having fab at the end of the season. If you want to play with that, then you can play with that. But we hope that helps, Daggers. We both like KJ Osborne this week, regardless of disagreeing on how much fab you should be spending on players at the end of the season. We both like KJ Osborne this week. He's in a great spot, and we hope Adam Thielen comes back because we love to watch him play. We hope Dalvin Cook comes back because we love to watch him play. But right now, the team needs playmakers, and KJ Osborne is going to be called on to be a playmaker for him. So, and early in the season, he was like a wide receiver 3 for a few weeks, was he not?
Yeah, he had some streaming weeks. Yeah. But yeah.
AB, what's going on? Should I drop AB? Bateman for a handcuffed running back? Depends who your wide receivers are.
And your running backs, like who, what, where, when, why, like what's the roster breakdown, who's the handcuff that you would be picking up, and who are you relying on at wide receiver other than Bateman?
I like where your head's at though, going to get those handcuffed running backs for a playoff stretch.
At this point, a move like that makes sense.
But Bateman he's still startable to me. He's a starting wide receiver for a fantasy team. Even if not a solid start, a spot start. So it depends it depends who you have at running back, who you're dropping and pick up, what other players you have on your team right now. If you're rolling 5 deep at wide receiver 1 and 2, you might not need Bateman. You might not need Bateman if you've got like. Yeah. So let us know. Honestly, if you've got like 3 or 4 guys, throw your whole team in there, and we'll talk about this a little bit. Throw your whole team in there, AV. Yeah. Mr. Heinen, thoughts on the Rams and the Jags running back situations? So I actually kind of talked about this. So Mr. Heinen, I did put out a waiver wire video earlier today. In the event you didn't see it, but if you did, I talked about Carlos Hyde in there for James Robinson. James Robinson is currently battling multiple injuries, and he's been pretty ineffective trying to do that. Had a awful floor game this past week against the Rams. And then to put the icing on the cake, Urban Meyer threw him out there for the last 2 carries of the game, meaningless game. Not meaningless game, but they weren't winning on the last 2 carries of the game, but he was still out there, even though he was banged up and ineffective and obviously injured, which is player mismanagement, and I don't like to see that. But go on. Yeah, I mean, regardless, Carlos Hyde was the one who had the better day. He turned 9 carries into 24 yards and a touchdown. It's gross, but if you're at the point where you're having to consider Carlos Hyde, you're probably just hoping he falls into the end zone for a score, and anything else is gravy. Not a good matchup by the numbers this week. Jacksonville plays Tennessee. Tennessee coming off their bye week. Their front 7 is strong. They get Kevin Byard back. So it's not a great matchup, but if you have a James Robinson and he's forced to miss, and Carlos Hyde is going to be a viable
low end RB3 in a desperate situation. As far as the Rams, I think it's a little less clear. Just not sure what the status is of Darrell Henderson. He was active, but then he didn't play this past week. So it was probably just an emergency situation. But the fact that he was active, I think, is a good sign for his long-term availability, Henderson's. Did Sony Michel turn this into a timeshare? It was one game in a great matchup, so I'm not totally ready to go there. But if Henderson is anything less than 100%, then Sony's going to have maybe an A.J. Dillon type of impact where he'll have low-end RB2 appeal. There might not be much of a ceiling if Henderson is playing, but Sony might be a little bit more viable. We're going to have to see how practice shakes out this week.
Yeah, and he follows that up and says, would you rather have the Jags or the Rams backfield for weeks 16 and 17?
The Rams, and it's not close.
I'd agree.
Give me the players on the good teams, not the players on the bad teams.
I mean, Darrell Henderson there was a question on whether or not he was going to be playing this past week, and he obviously ended up not playing. But the fact that he was questionable, a game time decision, means that 1 week removed from that, he should be in a better spot. I think just as a whole, the Rams running back, the top two running backs are healthier. Like you said, to your point, they play for a better offense. So yeah, who would I rather have? The Rams, and it's really not even close. Even though I
Rams,
really do
and it's
like
not close.
James Robinson when he's all the way healthy. He's just not all the way healthy right now.
Yeah. Rams, and it's not close.
Who is the JT handcuff? Jonathan Taylor handcuff.
Mack.
I think it's Marlon Mack too. I think
it's Mack.
I think Nyheim Hines, his role will grow if anything happens to Jonathan Taylor, obviously. But the heir to the first and second down role, the goal line role, if Jonathan Taylor were to go down, would be Marlon Mack.
Yep.
Richie, Bucks D or Chargers D?
Chargers.
The
Giants,
Bucks are going up against the Bills. I know they put up a stinker this past Sunday. But yeah, Chargers.
The strengths of the Bills offense play well to the weakness of the Bucks defense. Does that mean I'm not predicting a Bills win or that they'll carve them up?
No, but the Bills can throw. They can't run, and that was
right,
why they didn't win
throw.
On
right.
Monday.
Bucks can stop the run. Bills can't run. Bucks struggle to stop the pass. Bills can throw. Chargers are going to be playing the Giants at home, probably not with Daniel Jones again. Saquon Barkley is a not startable low-end RB2 at this point. He's not even scary. Sorry, Saquon. And that's their best option on offense.
By far. It's not even close.
So, the Chargers.
So what's that say? Yeah, I'd go with the Chargers too there, man.
What's that say? We're hoping Saquon gets right for 2022 at this point. 2021, outside of those decent couple of weeks at the beginning of the season, is looking like a complete loss.
It's crazy how many highly touted backs are just fading.
That's
even just injured.
Nature of the beast,
fading.
Nature of the position.
And they're young. They're 24, 25 years old. Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, fading. Ezekiel Elliott, fading. It's crazy.
What do all those guys have in common that you just mentioned?
400 touches.
They have been their team's workhorse.
They've all had a season with 400 touches.
Right, workhorse role.
But you can be a workhorse and not approach 400 touches. The teams just had nothing else, so they kept on using them. But yeah, it's the curse is real, dude. The curse is real.
Yeah.
Mr. Heinen, decent chance Jeff Wilson starts this week.
So Elijah Mitchell's in the concussion protocol to start the week. He could clear it, but I feel like 9 times out of 10, this leads to a player getting ruled out. Jeff
Trey
Wilson
Sermon is already on IR, so they can't play the games there. So if Elijah Mitchell can't go, I don't think they play games here. It's Jeff Wilson out there. He's all the way healthy. They didn't lose him all last week because they didn't need to.
because they don't want to, because Elijah Mitchell is the superior player.
He's just better, right? But I mean, in his stead, they'll go all the way to Jeff Wilson. They have in the past.
Yeah, there's no way you can feel good about it. And JaMychal Hasty is back healthy for whatever that's worth.
He's been back healthy for a while though.
Yeah, but I think he's a distant option when Elijah Mitchell's healthy.
Yes.
I think Elijah Mitchell makes other players more irrelevant than Jeff Wilson does at this point.
Yes,
I wouldn't be surprised to see them both mix in, and I would not be surprised if Jeff Wilson puts out another uninspiring performance even as the starter. I would just avoid the situation.
But if you need a spot start at running back, if you have Damian Harris and Myles Gaskin or something crazy,
right?
And
if you had Damian Harris, then you might have played him. Or sorry, we're talking about next week.
Yeah.
Oh, on bye. He's on bye. Correct.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. If you have a couple of guys on bye and a couple of guys that are injured, and you need to start Jeff Wilson, he could be a low end RB2 with some upside.
I would say he's more of like an RB3 with.
I would say probably he's more of an RB3, but I said he can be a low end RB2 with some upside, and most likely he'll be an RB3, but he can be a low end RB2 with some upside. So if you have no choice, if it's between him and like Ronald
Carlos
Jones,
Hyde.
I don't know. Yeah, Carlos Hyde.
I guess I would give a slight edge to Jeff.
I like
Wilson.
the offense more, and he would get the majority of the work, even though I do acknowledge the presence of JaMychal Hasty.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I just saw Alex, thank you for the reminder, and I did see this. I saw this on Twitter. Jeff Wilson did re-aggravate an injury. He re-aggravated the knee injury, the same injury that he had the surgery on earlier.
I did not see that. Okay.
I thank you, Alex. That is the reminder for something that I did see yesterday but forgot about. Jeff Wilson did re-aggravate his injury.
Flared up in the Week 13 loss to the Seahawks. Yep.
Decent chance Jeff Wilson is this might be the JaMychal Hasty show.
Wow. Okay.
The cult lives.
Your boy.
The cult lives. So, Mister, I would actually, you know what? Stay away. Carlos Hyde or Jeff Wilson? Carlos Hyde.
Carlos Hyde or JaMychal Hasty? Who are we going with?
Pass.
Jaquez Patrick? No.
Well, he might play, or he might see some run, or somebody from the
practice
squad's gonna get promoted. Let's keep an eye on that. Let's keep an eye on that this week. We will keep an eye on the San Francisco 49ers backfield this week, and if there's anybody to make note of or put content out about, we will make sure that we are on top of that.
Yes, sir. But good catch, Alex.
Thank you for the reminder. I did see that, but forgot about it. But thank you.
Mr. Heinen, I was thinking maybe Green Bay, just because buys usually favor defense over offenses.
Sure. I mean, if that's the logic you want to use to approach how to start the defense or which defense to start, then sure. But the Lions on the road, that's something I would be willing to target. Obviously, yes, Green Bay is probably the team that is much more safe to expect them to be playing with a lead. And I like defenses where the team is playing with a lead, because it leads the offense to take more shots or take more chances and therefore make more mistakes. But Detroit is like that abysmally awful, where Denver, I would say, remains slightly more appealing.
Yeah, Denver's a top 10 defense by fantasy points scored. Green Bay's not. Just put it. Green Bay's not. They're about 20 plus points behind them. So they're just the Denver unit's just a better unit altogether.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, either one is a safe option. But give me the Broncos against.
Give
the
me the
Lions.
Broncos too. Yep. What's going on? Would you guys trade Fournette or Kamara for Devontae Adams, looking to trade one running back for a wide receiver?
What's the rest of your team look like? Like, who are your wide receivers?
My gut would say Fournette, but he's been playing so well and has such a high floor and catches so many passes. He's basically Kamara at this point when you look at the usage that he's getting. I
don't really want to trade either one of those guys.
A ton of work on the ground, a ton of work through the air.
Yeah.
Which is what we
unless
would
you
expect
also have
from Kamara.
Eckler or if you've got like Jonathan Taylor back there, like then okay, sure, let's talk about it. But I'm inclined to say,
you're
like,
shooting
just
for the
keep your
right.
running
I mean,
backs.
you're shooting for the right players. You're trying to get the wide receiver one overall.
But who are your other wide receivers?
That's what you should be shooting for. You shouldn't be trying to play any games here. You're trying to go for it all, and I like that. The fact that Fournette could possibly get it done is insane. But I also don't want to be trade. I also don't want to trade Fournette because he's been so good, and it doesn't look to be stopping anytime soon.
Yep.
And he has such a high floor. And I know
What's the rest of
Kamara's
your team
injured,
like?
and Kamara, when he comes back, isn't going to be playing with the best quarterback situation. And then you're playing that game there too. But
what's the rest of your team look like?
My active team is Brady, Fournette, Jones, OBJ, Cooks, Gronk, Kamara, Boswell, stream defense.
Need to see, like, who are your backups? Who are you starting? Who have you been starting since Kamara has been out? Like, who are you starting?
Looking at this squad, I understand wanting to upgrade at wide receiver.
Yeah.
It looks like a need for you. And if you went into the playoffs with Alvin Kamara and Aaron Jones, conventional wisdom would lead me to believe that's a pretty solid 1-2 punch at running back. But Fournette's just so good.
Yeah.
And you can
necessarily trying to trade.
You can play one of those guys in the flex. That's just a different dynamic. Once everybody's healthy, who's on your bench, man?
Yeah, that's what I would want to know. Let's see the rest of the team.
I understand wanting to upgrade, and I understand going after and getting the biggest upgrade at the position. It's just tough to trade away Kamara or Fournette.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of those running backs is always a forced flex at the moment. I don't like that.
Yeah, let's see the rest of the team, the rest of the bench. Why not MVS in prime time? Yeah, so again, I put a waiver wire video out today, and he's in there too. I covered both MVS and Osborne.
Who would you rather have?
And I actually put MVS ahead of Osborne in the chronological order that I did it. MVS is against the Bears. Nothing scary about that matchup by the numbers. They are beat up. And Valdez-Scantling has 19 targets in his past 2 games, dating back to or before the bye week. So, yeah, I would say that does feel like a safer play. So if Marquez Valdez-Scantling and KJ Osborne are both on your wire, then MVS. But MVS is going to be probably a little bit more widely owned right now than Osborne.
Yeah, MVS is more of a fixture of that offense.
But if he is available, then I prefer him.
KJ Osborne is more of an injury fill-in, to where he's going to be forced into a role. I think MVS's role is clearly defined. He's been operating in that role all season. And with Allen Lazard and Robert Tonyan not there, I think it's been helping him recently a lot, and Aaron Jones. So I like MVS more than MVS more than KJ Osborne. Tonyan can't come back.
Right.
Allen Lazard can come back, and we expect Aaron Jones to come back. But
Aaron Jones, we expect to go back to his regular role this week.
Yep.
But all it takes for MVS is one play.
And he plays with a great quarterback. So.
Right.
Yep.
Well, by the numbers, Osborne doesn't play with no slouch either. But obviously, Rodgers is better.
Yeah. I know the stat on QB1 weeks and Kirk Cousins that you brought up a few streams ago.
Kirk Cousins has been better than solid this year. Kirk Cousins has been very good.
I still think Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback.
Well, that's not the argument. That's not the argument I'm trying to make. But on a week-to-week basis for fantasy purposes, Cousins has been more valuable this year.
Yes.
That being said, I would still take MVS.
It's because the pace of play for the Packers is
it's slower, good. And they run the ball. They run the ball. So, yeah.
Yeah. Juan, thank you for
the Vikings run the ball a lot too, but
yeah,
it's what it is.
Mr. Heinen, Jets week 16 though.
Yeah, don't care. Not to sound like a jerk. The Jags are equally bad, if not worse. At this point in the season, if I have an option, if I got two like somewhat questionable like running back tandems, Henderson I think is on the better side of getting healthy. Robinson is not. And again, Rams are just a better. Give me the players on the better teams, the teams that are playing for something right now. That's what I want. I know that the Jets are incredibly favorable as a matchup, but I'm
not. You need to win at all costs.
Give me the good players on the good teams, not the good players on the bad teams. And that good player is banged up and dealing with multiple injuries. Rams, not close. Regardless of any matchups rest of year between those two options.
And we got another defense question. Johnny Jones, what's going on? Titans or Seahawks defense looking for a fill-in for the Bills D?
Yep. Was thinking the Titans. And yeah, you're good to think that way, and I think that's the move.
Definitely over the Seahawks. Yeah.
I think that's the move. They're coming out of their bye week and they're playing Jacksonville.
And they get Kevin Byard back, who might be their best player on defense.
Yep. Titans.
And to your second question, Julio or KJ Osborne?
Yup.
Oh man, hey, I can't believe we're here. I can't believe we're discussing whether or not we should be playing future Hall of Famer Julio Jones, or depth receiver KJ Osborne. It's crazy.
And it should be KJ Osborne. There's no way I'm touching Julio
and
with a 10-foot pole.
It should be KJ Osborne. It's insane. I'm not touching that. Julio Jones has approached. He's Kenny Golladay for me.
It's worse.
Well, you get the comparison. Yeah, it's not that I don't trust the talent. Yeah. I don't trust the fact that he's going to be able to stay on the field for more than 3 plays at a time before getting injured and banged up, and then he's out of the game.
Yeah,
that's where we're at with Kenny Golladay. Yeah. That's where we're at with Julio Jones, except Julio Jones is 5 years older.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, KJ Osborne.
Give me KJ Osborne in a favorable matchup. Obviously, there's nothing scary about any wide receiver or any player in general going up against Jacksonville.
And any good picks in case Waller doesn't play. I'm going to go back to the Foster Moreau. Well, if Foster Moreau is still there. I know he didn't light the world on fire this past game, but if you go back and look in the last game that he played in a full game without Darren Waller, he had a boom week. And athletically, he's not quite comparable to Darren Waller, but both above 9 RAS, so I like that.
Is Ty Conklin available?
That's another not again, quite on the same athletic spectrum, but he's going to be getting a ton of work without
no Thielen,
Dalvin Cook, and Thielen, right? Yeah.
Right. No Dalvin Cook, no Adam Thielen. Is Ty Conklin available? If he's not, I stand by. If he's healthy, I don't hate the idea of Ricky Seals-Jones, because if Logan Thomas is in fact going to miss extended time, if the MRI does confirm, again, it was falsely reported that it was a torn ACL.
It looks like he was
know that yet. It sounds like he's going to miss time, and there are some beautiful matchups by the numbers for the Washington tight ends. So if it's not Seals-Jones, your Hail Mary can be that rookie Bates. We might need to do something on Bates.
Yeah, I had one rookie video out on him before the season started.
Might need to revisit that.
I'm gonna have to.
Pending what happens with Logan Thomas, and of course practice reports for Ricky Seals-Jones this week, but he's also an option. Raiders play the Chiefs this week, so obviously Moreau could find himself in a situation where the Raiders have to keep pace. but I don't hate the idea if especially, and Waller sounds like he's improving, so I don't hate the idea of trying to get out in front of, looking for somebody, but Waller does seem to be trending in the right direction. So if you're looking to maybe drop Foster Moreau in that situation, I don't hate that idea.
Yeah, the Raiders head coach came out and said that he's day to day. He's not week to week anymore. So that is a little bit of a vote of confidence there. But I mean, he's only been out for 1 week, has he not?
He missed 1 week. Yeah. Yeah, he missed 1 week. Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I would say that he's probably out another week.
Waller?
Obviously, if Waller's playing, then you play Waller. But
if he's not, and he's trending in the right direction, I still don't mind dropping Moreau for the preferred Washington tight end, because even if you have to start, say, Ricky Seals-Jones over a starting Foster Moreau this week, you're still hoping that you get Waller back next week, and then you still have Ricky Seals-Jones with some beautiful matchups at the end of the season. And if Seals-Jones can't go, I think Bates is viable as well.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been getting work, and I remember from doing the video that I didn't think Bates would have a shot to do anything this year.
If Seals-Jones can't play, and we can already kind of assume that Logan Thomas is going to be out at least this week, Bates might be the better stream.
Could be.
Taylor Heineke's playing well. Washington's playing like Washington has turned their season around. Won 4 straight. They are in pole position for a playoff spot. Like, this is the time of year I like to think of that stuff too. Again, to the point of Rams backfield versus
where everything
Jaguars
starts to click
backfield.
on all cylinders.
Who are the NFL teams that are playing for something? It's not just us playing fantasy. Who are the NFL teams playing for something?
Right, to that point.
I don't know. There's more incentive. There's other intangibles there at play.
You were talking about the Rams versus the Jags. To that point, the Jags don't have a lot to play for.
That's the
teams like that don't have a lot to play for.
James Robinson could be shut down. Yeah.
So always something you have to factor in this time of year.
Yep.
There we go, Alex. Thank you again, Mr. Heinen.
Man, we went off on a tangent on that one.
Yeah.
That was on Johnny's question about Waller.
Yep.
Yeah. Alex, thank you again. And Mr. Heinen, at this point, I'm right now, today on Tuesday, knowing that he re-aggravated an old injury that forced him to miss 4 to 6 months. We just gotta wait and see.
We gotta wait and see.
Well, right. He's a wait and see, but he's an RB4, RB5. He's not an RB3.
Yeah, because even when he was healthy, he wasn't being relied upon. So
right.
It really is. He is the definition of a wait and see. We got to wait and see on multiple levels here. So we'll have a much better idea on Saturday.
But as of today, right now, we're waiting and seeing. And I'm, at least me, I don't know about you, I'm downgrading. Like,
yeah, because you're excited about the prospect of your boy JaMychal Hasty being out there.
No, it's not that I'm excited about the prospect of JaMychal Hasty. It's just
I know. I'm just messing with you.
Re-aggravating an old injury.
I'm just messing with you because you were leading the charge for the JaMychal Hasty bandwagon last year.
I was, and I know it's not going to happen full time or long term or even in a some type of 3-headed monster or anything like that. But this is his opportunity if he's the one who's healthy. If Elijah Mitchell has to miss, there's no way I can put right now today Wilson higher than an RB4. Even if Elijah Mitchell has to miss.
Yep. Agreed.
Camera. Sorry.
Whatever. Hey, Surf, what's going on, man? Foreman or Robinson this week?
Hold on, you missed Slim.
Chargers to San Fran. Sorry about that. Chargers to San Fran.
In and everything. That's just rude of you.
No, I have no excuses. Apologies, Slim.
Who do the Niners get this week? The Bengals, and I think they're on the road. And I know Cincinnati bottomed out against, or they came back to earth against the Chargers this week. But I'm gonna say the Chargers at home against Mike Glennon.
Yep.
Like the Giants offense is officially an offense to target rest of season for defense streams. Chargers are at home. Again,
and I mean,
the best option the Giants have.
Since he hasn't been rolling on all cylinders lately, but I mean, even when Jamar Chase isn't firing with Joe Burrow and CJ Uzoma isn't catching 2 touchdowns a game, T. Higgins is still out there doing things. Joe Mixon's still out there doing things. I know Joe Mixon got a little bit banged up this past week.
Like I said over the weekend, T. Higgins is out there being the Bengals wide receiver 1.
I think it's just Jamar Chase learning how to deal with double coverage. But
I think Higgins is right now. He's back to being their wide receiver 1. Anyway.
It's Tyler Boyd. Auden Tate.
No. Chargers, Slim. Give me the Chargers against
Going with Chargers. Yep.
Give me the Chargers against the Giants. Give me any defense from here on out against the Giants. That offense is bad. Even with Daniel Jones in there, that offense is bad.
But Surf, Donta Foreman, or James Robinson.
Yes, sir. So
I mean, if Robinson isn't playing, then Foreman. But if Robinson is playing,
practice reports this week.
With Robinson playing, I mean, Donta Foreman wasn't even the best running back in his own backfield the last time we saw this team play. And now Jeremy McNichols should be coming back because he suffered a concussion. He should be back in the fold after having a bye week off. I haven't heard any definitive news on that, but I think that will be the case. At which point we're going to be dealing with a 3-headed monster here. And I know Donta Foreman had 100 yards on the ground last time that we saw him. He also had a fumble, and the other running back in the offense had a better day than he did. So if James Robinson is playing, that's kind of a tear break for me. Where James Robinson, when he's healthy, is a volume-based mid to high-end RB2, whereas Donta Foreman, there's kind of a lot of question marks going into this week. If James Robinson is at all healthy or healthier coming into this game, I don't know if I can go all the way off James Robinson like that. Obviously, if James Robinson isn't going, then Foreman. If I have a choice between Carlos Hyde getting all the work and Donta Foreman
getting 50% of the work, I'm going Foreman.
I think I'm going Foreman too.
Yeah, he definitely has flex appeal this week. Foreman does. The Jags just I know it was an awful spot for Jacksonville having to go on the road to play the Rams, but Sony Michel just gashed them for 120 yards and a score on the ground. I think Foreman and Dontrell Hilliard. Obviously, we got to keep an eye on the status of Jeremy McNichols, but I think Jeremy McNichols potentially cannibalizes Hilliard a little more than he does Foreman.
Yeah, but Hilliard showed that he can run the ball.
Hilliard can run the ball as well. I think both. So in my waiver video this week.
Yeah, if
they're both flexible. I think they're both flexible.
If Hilliard only succeeded at doing what he did through the air, I'd be with you. But the fact that he did it on the ground and through the air against a tough matchup.
Yeah, Foreman did it too. They both did. They both went over 100 yards.
Dontrell Hilliard had a better day.
They're both flexible. They're both viable. Foreman had 100 yards on the ground. That's for fantasy purposes. He delivered too. I think they are both flexible this week.
I agree with you.
And if Robinson is anything less than 100%, Foreman's got the much better matchup on the other side because they're playing each other. The Titans and Jags are playing each other. If Robinson's anything less than 100%, I say stream Foreman. I say stream Hilliard too. I think they're both viable. If McNichols is back, obviously that makes it a little less appealing. Just keep an eye on the practice reports this week. But if you need to pick up Foreman in order to
Foreman's not a bad play. I agree with that.
Do you need to pick him up?
I agree that Foreman is a flex moving forward. I just do have some concerns over the workload, because they said there were rumblings of coming up against the game that he was going to be the workhorse, and he got it done, but he was not the workhorse.
No, he wasn't. But that's smoke and mirrors.
And there's another back added. There's going to be another back added to the equation here, back into the equation, who the coaching staff liked better than both of these guys.
Who, McNichols?
They like McNichols more than they like Foreman and Hilliard. I know
Foreman
they
had
and Hilliard
McNichols already rostered. The Foreman and Hilliard were added out of necessity, so that makes sense. I think both Foreman and Hilliard.
No, but I agree.
Viable.
They're both flex viable.
and
if Robinson is
potentially
not healthy,
over and
if
over Robinson if he's anything less than 100%.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
I agree. I just think you should be a little bit more wary of the fact that this could be a three-headed backfield, and these are basically all
this specific
fourth
matchup
running
is
backs
great.
and practice squad guys. Right
this specific matchup is great though. Like for this week, this matchup is great.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Flex play.
Yep.
So you could do a lot worse, Surf. You could do a lot worse. I like picking up Foreman there. Don't get me wrong. I like Foreman as a flex. I agree with what Nick is saying.
Yeah, I like them both. I like Hilliard too for this week. I like them both. I think they can both deliver. But anyway.
And we will keep our ear to the streets as far as what's going on with Jeremy McNichols and this backfield in general. And if you come back on Saturday, 6 p.m., we'll be able to. We can talk about this a little bit more then too, with a little bit more of a definitive
with a little bit more,
answer for you.
More information.
Labyrinth, what's going on? Hey man, you're not late to the party. Hey man, sorry you lost this week.
Fortunately out.
I'm with you. I'm not. It sucks that you're out of the playoffs. Do you have
it's annoying to run into Russell freaking Gage on the one time a year he has a good game.
And Goddard scoring 2 touchdowns.
Goddard,
that's kind of an anomaly. That wouldn't have happened if Gardner Minshew wasn't in there. If Jalen Hurts wasn't in there, I don't think Goddard scoring 2 touchdowns. So that's rough. That's rough. Yeah. What did Gage have?
I don't know.
I know he went over 100 yards.
He was more than viable this week.
And we were both kind of off him. We've been off him.
Yeah,
he just had a boom week. Yeah.
He had the week of his life. 11 catches, 130 yards. I promise he won't do that again.
He Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. Yeah, for 1 week.
Yeah, that's about all we can count on.
It's just annoying. It's annoying when you're the one who has to deal with it. So
speaking of, we haven't heard anything from the Calvin Ridley camp.
No, he's done for the year. That's I think.
You think he comes back? Like not this year. Do you think he returns to football?
Yeah, in 2022. I don't have any reason to believe his career is over. I have every reason to believe his season is over. But 2022.
Fair. But yeah, sorry to hear that, Labyrinth.
We'll get him next year.
Eel out. Your
right.
bench. I'm gonna drop down and then go back up. Your bench ain't the bench ain't too good. You say Ertz, Perryman, Josh Reynolds, Matt Breida, Taysom Hill, Nick Westbrook-Akine, and Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, I'm not making that trade. Because at least you got like enough wide receiver depth.
Yeah, I don't like your running back depth.
You have no running back depth, so I'm
three.
not making that trade. I'm keeping Fournette and Kamara, and you have Brady, so you have a pseudo stack anytime he throws.
Considering he gets Fournette gets targeted a lot, especially in the red zone. I would keep that, and you got Taysom Hill just in case. Hey, if you need to swerve and go to a different kind of stack. You technically have that stack too there.
Taysom Hill is droppable since you have Brady.
If you wanna have that security of having 2 quarterbacks going into the playoffs, one of which you deserve an every week start, both of which you can.
Unless this is Dynasty, Taysom Hill is a drop. In 1 quarterback leagues at this point, you carry 1 quarterback. Sorry, I
would agree. I would agree. I don't know what the format is.
Well, if it's done, I'm sorry. I can't remember if you played Dynasty or not. If this is Dynasty, obviously Taysom Hill isn't a drop. But if this is not Dynasty, Taysom Hill is a drop for literally. I don't care for whoever else is out there. Hill can easily be reacquired if you really, really need to. Brady's your guy. Like if there's a running back out there. If JaMychal Hasty is out there, hell, if Jeff, I see, yeah, obviously maybe this is a deep league, maybe there's not too much out there on the waiver wire, but let's find a running back.
I mean, at this point, I don't know if
or Carlos Hyde, get a.
Yeah. I mean, you could do a fair amount of roster turnover with your bench if there's anybody out there. I don't know how much I trust Breida right now.
I would hold on to Breida. I think Zach Moss was much more involved because of the elements of this game, this specific game. Breida's not a drop for me yet, especially with the lack of the rest of the depth. Kadarius Toney can probably safely be dropped. I'm not sure we see him again this year. Perryman, I don't hate like hanging on to as a win and a prayer because Antonio Brown. I'm not convinced Antonio Brown isn't done for the year or just gets outright cut, gets outright released by the Bucs. And with Brady, that's a deep stream stack. And Westbrook Akine, I'm holding on to. I would say Taysom Hill and Kadarius Toney are both, especially Taysom Hill, are easy drops for whatever other depth you can find. But I'm not making that trade for Adams. I'm keeping Kamara and Fournette.
Yeah, I'm standing pat on that trade.
Yep.
I think you'll be better off, even though you're forced into starting 3 running backs in your flex, 2 in your running back, 1 in your flex, and you mentioned that. That's not a bad problem to have. It's really not. If being forced into starting Fournette in the flex with Kamara and Jones as your RB1 and 2, it's not a bad position to be in. So
yeah, I don't hate that at all.
Yeah, I like that.
I'd rather have those horses at running back. I know Adams is
because wide receiver is just a more fluid position.
Yes,
and there's just more available. So you can get a wide receiver 2 spot start out of a guy if you choose the right guy. Whereas running backs, there's only 32 starting running backs.
Yeah, and there's only about
technically 64 to even more starting wide receivers in the league.
And Fournette and Kamara are 2 of the few guys who you can like look at and say these guys get the work. Jones gets work, but it's like 15 touches. He's just elite with minimal touches.
Yeah, hey, and if anything were to happen to Dylan,
then Jones gets even more work.
Yeah, there's that reverse handcuff value too.
Right, it's the reverse handcuff turn of events.
Yeah, so we like where you're at. Stand pat, but if you got to drop, what Nick said about Taysom Hill is right. I have gone into the playoffs rostering 2 quarterbacks in a 1 QB league. If the guy is worth it, if the other quarterback I have on my bench is a top 10 quarterback and I grabbed him at the right time, sure. Taysom Hill ain't that. So I agree with Nick in that you could probably drop Taysom Hill right now as long as you're not in a 2 QB league, and it doesn't look like it from your active team at the moment. But yeah, I hope that helps, man. Stand pat.
Tim, what's going on? Well, that's good. Tim? You won. Always good that you won. Gage was on your bench, and you can leave him on your bench.
Yeah, nobody's gonna. If somebody is out there is telling you, hey, you should be starting Gage from now on, question the source.
No, he's not. Gage is not a trendsetter. Like, he's not a tone setter. Cordell Patterson is that team's trendsetter. The only way like Gage, works is if the offense is fully clicking on all cylinders. Not that the Falcons weren't like world beaters on
on Sunday,
but Gage like goes with the flow.
Matt Ryan was duking it out with Tom Brady in that game. When Tom Brady was throwing. Yeah, I think the broadcaster said he was on pace to throw 80 times in the game early on. So early and often, the Falcons were trying to keep up.
Yeah, they're exploiting the bad Bucs secondary.
Right. This is not something from Russell Gage that we can count on week in, week out. It's just not, and it's not something that we can count on moving forward. This was not a sea change with Russell Gage. He is who he was. He just had a hot game. And Russell Gage hot games are very unpredictable.
Wouldn't be surprised if it was the last one of the season.
Me neither. Labyrinth, you can still make the playoffs in your other leagues, but you need a 1-game flex playoff. Who would your vote be off the waivers?
Who's available? Like,
that's what it depends on.
Who are
you looking at?
Yeah, who's at the end of your bench and who's available? Let us know, Labyrinth. We can help. But like, who are you looking at? Who would you? Here's the thing. Here's the question I always ask myself as I'm going into waivers. Is there a better than decent chance I am plugging this dude into my lineup this week? And then let's go from there. But let us know who's at the end of your bench. Let us know who's available, and we can go from there.
Well, he needs a one-game flex player.
Right. So let us know
waivers.
the
He's
scoring.
He's going to be starting for 1 week. So that question's already answered.
Right. But still, what's the scoring? Who's at the end of your bench who you are definitely not starting, and who's out there who's out there? Let us know.
Yeah. Alex, what would y'all have done would y'all have done this trade in the playoffs? Dynasty, 1 PPR, Superflex, start 9 players, 3 wide receivers. Traded away CMC, AJ Brown, Cortland Sutton, and Waller, and a 2022 third for Nick Chubb, DeAndre Hopkins, Tony Pollard, Travis Kelce, and $200 fab dollars.
That's a lot to give up.
You traded away a running back that we don't love for a running back we both love, CMC for Chubb. You traded away AJ Brown, who's injured right now and should be injured going into the fantasy playoffs. He should be injured for that first game in the fantasy playoffs. For and DeAndre Hopkins, who is coming back healthy, and hey, he looked like he was all the way back last game. And then you got Cortland Sutton and Darren Waller and Pollard and Kelce. I'd rather have Tony Pollard and Travis Kelce than Cortland Sutton and Darren Waller. And then if you give up a 2022 third in what shouldn't be a very good draft class for $200 fab dollars, if you have a use for those dollars, if those dollars can help you right now, and there's people that you want to pick up, make sure you get on the end of your bench. I don't hate that. I don't hate that trade.
If you're in a win now situation, like if you've clinched a playoff spot, if you're going into the playoffs and this bolsters your opportunity, your chances this year, then hell yeah. There's reason to be concerned about Christian McCaffrey. There's plenty of reason to be concerned about Christian McCaffrey moving forward.
Yep.
I think in Dynasty, despite the fact that AJ Brown is 24 years old, that double knee surgery that he has under his belt is serious cause for concern for AJ Brown moving forward. Cortland Sutton might bounce back if the Broncos can get a quarterback upgrade, but he's worthless the rest of this year. Sorry, no disrespect to Cortland Sutton, but there's no reason you can't roll him out.
The only piece that hurts in this trade from a dynasty perspective, because I'm not ready to say 24-year-old AJ Brown is going to be affected for the rest of his career, because he's been, if not a top 5 dynasty wide receiver, a top 10 dynasty wide receiver since coming into the league.
Yeah,
and coming in, what he's shown on the field hasn't declined. He hasn't been able to stay completely healthy here, but he is 1 year removed. It was in a year where he came back, removed a few months coming into the season from surgery on both of his knees, so he can come back. Bad. Yes, it's bad, but it's bad for this season. It's not bad for the rest of his career. I think he's all right.
I disagree.
No, that's because you traded him to me in a league.
No, I think there is legitimate cause for concern for AJ Brown moving forward. He's not top 5 for dynasty anymore at the position.
No, but that more has to do with the fact that there's more talent at the position than his talent falling off. We don't have to continue to argue about AJ Brown here. Yeah, I like this trade. The only thing that gives me pause is trading away AJ Brown, who's a young stud, for DeAndre Hopkins, who's an older stud. That's the only thing here that is just like, I wish I didn't have to do that, because AJ Brown is one of those guys that you're planning to have on your team for a long time, regardless of how Nick feels about him.
I think it's a good move.
But I think it's a good move because everywhere else you're improving. It's a win now move. And the third doesn't mean anything to me. You improved at tight end.
Yeah, the third.
You got out from under a bad wide receiver and got a good ascending running back. And you still have a RB1 and a wide receiver 1 for the rest of the season. So I like that a lot. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's a good trade for this year. And you got rid of
It's an even trade. That's about as even a 4-player trade is.
I think it favors you this year, Alex. I think it's.
Yeah, but it favors the other person, theoretically moving on into the future. So from a dynasty perspective, that is a very even trade. You're both getting.
I'm not even ready to. I say you traded a lot of red flag players moving forward. So I'd say it's a good trade this year and beyond.
Well, you think that AJ Brown is a red flag player? I
Well,
agree with you
and
that
so
CMC
and so
Cortland
is Christian
Sutton.
McCaffrey, and
Well,
so
CMC
is Christian
and Cortland
McCaffrey.
Sutton are absolutely.
Christian McCaffrey is a red flag player. Cortland Sutton.
He's like a triple red flag player. Yeah.
Right. And Cortland Sutton is very questionable moving forward. Even with, I mean, a quarterback upgrade would certainly help, but he can't be played at all, at least the rest of this year.
He's had one.
I like
year.
Waller.
So, yeah.
I want to like AJ Brown. I root for AJ Brown, but there is reason to have serious concerns about him moving forward, despite his age.
I'm not ready to go there yet. He's still very young.
I am ready to go there. But anyway, a good trade for this year. I say good trade for beyond.
What's the precedence for your like who else was a wide receiver one, clear cut wide receiver at the age of 24, had some surgeries and then was absolutely never the same. Who's the case study for you being worried about AJ Brown here?
I don't have a specific case study off the top of my head. I just said there's enough there for me to have concern.
Okay. Well, we'll disagree. Because I think he's fine for next year. I think this year he was still working his way back for being healthy at the beginning of the season when the season started. But I think he's fine.
Okay.
But I like that trade. I like that trade, Alex. Good job.
Yeah, I like the trade.
Moral of the story, we don't have to keep arguing about AJ Brown.
Right.
Yeah. Elias, what defense do you like for week 15? Packers, Broncos, or 49ers?
The Packers and Broncos are both viable. Both strong plays. Slightly prefer the Broncos just because they're playing Detroit at home. Packers have a good matchup too. Playing the Bears at home. I expect the Packers to win. Probably say the Packers should beat the Bears handedly, regardless of who quarterbacks for the Bears.
Week 15, are they playing the?
Oh, for week 15.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the matchups yet for week 15 for those teams. Is Green Bay playing the Lions week 15? who's? Oh, they're on the road against Baltimore, so I like that less. Denver week 15. Who do they get? Cincinnati at home. Don't love that, but at least they're at home.
Yeah.
San Francisco, week 15.
Falcons. I like that.
Where is that game? At home.
At home.
That's not
against
bad.
The Falcons. I like that.
That's not bad. Yeah, for week 15, the 49ers
to be doing that in week 15.
Nah, at home against a team that they're pretty even as far as the standings and the record, but so favor the home team. Yeah, San Francisco and the Falcons are a favorable matchup for opposing defenses. So Matt Ryan's a statue back there.
Yep, 49ers.
And the 49ers have a good pass rush. Yep, San Francisco for week 15.
Slim Reaper, what's going on? Eagles running backs have an easy schedule remaining, but Hurts caps it.
They do.
More Minshew, please. I know it's not going to happen. Hey,
I think we saw the Eagles produce with we saw the Eagles running backs produce with Hurts at quarterback.
They don't have
they're all
the
going to be
touchdown
strong
upside.
plays.
That's the problem, because Hurts can run it in from the goal line twice in a game, and then the Eagles running backs are left with nothing but yards, which isn't terrible.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine.
I think they'll be fine too. We can't
yes,
expect
obviously
what they did against the Jets every game, but they will be viable for the rest of the season. Whoever's starting for the Eagles will be viable for the rest of the season.
Yeah, if Miles Sanders is in there, he should be fine. He needed a lot of touches against the Jets to actually deliver, but he still delivered. If Jordan Howard comes back, he should be fine. Boston Scott did nothing this past week. That might have been attributed to the fumble that he had in week 13. So it might have been a little smoke and mirrors to actually fire Boston Scott up as a flex play this week, because he was a dud. And Gainwell got in there. So it's going to be a grab bag as far as maybe like Howard, Gainwell, and Boston Scott any given week. But Miles Sanders should be fine. And depending on the matchup and the situation, Howard should have his opportunities here and there. I don't know if Boston Scott's going to get his opportunity again. He might be in the doghouse right now, but Gainwell reemerged in his own right this past week. So the Eagles will be fine. The Eagles running backs will be fine even when Hurts returns.
William Risky. Pick 2 running backs, PPR.
William.
James Conner. Big Balls Montgomery. I didn't know that's I like that.
There you go.
J-Rob, Cordell Patterson. And do you think I should start one of these guys over Scary Terry in the flex?
Maybe
you're starting Cordell Patterson.
You're starting Patterson and Connor.
Yes. And Montgomery over
Patterson
Scary
and
Terry
Connor.
in the flex? Who are your wide receivers, bro?
Who are the Bears playing? Oh, they're playing the Packers.
Who are your wide receivers, William? Because I can't advocate sitting Scary Terry, unless you have Devontae Adams and DeAndre Hopkins or something.
Washington gets Dallas this week at home. Yeah, I mean, we got to figure that. I think we have until Saturday and Sunday, William, to ultimately figure that out. Obviously, we got to get through a week of practice first. Connor and Patterson for sure are in there. I'm not afraid to go with Montgomery over Terry, but
I mean, Montgomery's one of those running backs that we've been talking about for a while. Has a great schedule rest of season.
Right, so I'm trying to get him in there.
He has little to no competition for touches in that backfield. Khalil Herbert is not. He's faded of late.
He's a sporadic. He spells Montgomery sporadically.
And there's just no way I'm sitting Cordell Patterson.
No, he's in your lineup for the rest of the season. Like no
so
matter.
Yeah, who else are you starting?
Oh, he's got Tyreek and Diggs. Who you're not
10 team.
Who you're not taking out.
Can we just say ask us again in a few days?
I was gonna say let's get through.
I can't give you an answer
let's
right
get
now.
through a week of practice. Obviously, remember, guys, it's two. We're not afraid to take start sit questions for y'all. We're happy to do it, but if it's a tough call like this, it is still only Tuesday. So let's get through a full week of practice. Let's see how things shake out in practice. Like, let's make sure there's no random setbacks. No, that's a good question. But regardless, I would still be playing James Conner, even if Edmonds is able to return. The last I checked, he's still on IR. And I believe, and Cliff Kingsbury has already said he's not going to return this week. So
won't return until week 14 against the Rams. But you said he's coach already confirmed not this week.
Until week 14. I would still play Connor with full confidence, even in Chase Edmonds' return.
Benjamin.
No. No.
Hey, you're gonna owe me a 4th round pick in that one league. Hey.
That's fine. You can have it.
Internal bet. Yeah. Slim Reaper, we got a kicker question.
There we go.
Graham Gano,
McGoatson.
Evan McGoatson. I like how we've just that's his name now.
That's now his new name.
Yeah.
Who the hell's Gano on? Is he on the Giants? Where's Gano? Where is Gano these days?
I thought he was on the Giants, but I'm not sure.
I should know this. Kicker whisperer should know where Gano is. Yeah, he's on the Giants, so no shot. McGoatson, I do like McGoatson, but it's a tougher matchup this week. I think the Bengals they're hosting San Francisco. Not as favorable of a matchup. Boswell's on the road on Thursday night. I don't hate Boswell, but I don't know that the Steelers. What's the line on that game? Hopkins is probably the one that I would go with, just because in this situation, I'm looking at the Chargers have got to be like big favorites over the Giants, right? What's the line on Vikings Steelers? I'm looking this up right now really quick, but I'm inclined to say I can't tap my computer. Apparently my camera doesn't like that. I'm inclined to say Hopkins. Okay. Minnesota is 3-point favorites. Let's go Hopkins. Chargers are favored in that game. They got to be at least touchdown favorites over the Giants. Sometimes like one of my outside of like weather conditions, which obviously Hopkins is playing in LA, so no weather concerns there. Another thing to consider is who's favored. Which team is favored to win the game? Therefore, they're tacking on points in the second half. Hopkins, Slim. I'm gonna say Hopkins.
There you go, from the kicker whisperer's mouth himself.
Do what I can. Johnny says no Conklin is available. Yeah. So Johnny, I would not be.
RSJ?
Let's keep an eye on the practice reports this week, but I'm picking up Ricky Seals-Jones if I'm you.
Slim Reaper, Gallup, Pitts, AJ Green, flex PPR.
Gallup.
I'm going Gallup. One more week. He's done great the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's
Amari
caught a
Cooper
touchdown.
is not all the way healthy.
Well,
be
the
playing in the game,
expectation
he's not
is
all
he
the way
will
healthy.
be next week. The expectation.
I'll believe it when I see it. Gallup out of those guys.
I mean, all three Cowboys receivers are going to remain viable, and that includes Gallup.
AB, you had to move your car. Hey, no worries, bro. Thanks for coming back.
No
your
worries.
team is Lamar Jackson, Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Swift, Justin Jefferson, Brandon Cooks, Claypool, Kelsey, Van Jefferson, Mooney, McKissick, Knox, Bateman, Hines,
Which
Tevin
is going
Coleman.
to drop. Yeah, so I mean, like you said you were going to drop Bateman for a handcuff. Like, is Ingram available? Is Jamal Williams available? Like, if the answer is yes, then yes, do that. Jefferson, Cooks, Claypool, Van
I'd
Jefferson,
rather
and
hold
Mooney
on
are
to Bateman and drop Coleman. If I'm picking up a handcuff, running back.
Nah, I hoard running backs like zombies or like weapons during the zombie apocalypse, especially during the playoffs. With having Justin Jefferson, with having Brandon Cooks, with having Claypool and Van Jefferson and Mooney, who are all easily over Bateman at this point, you can drop Bateman. You can drop Hines too. I would believe it or not, because Michael Carter is guaranteed, I think, right, to miss one more week.
Is he? That was going to be my one question, but I mean, I feel like
Carter was sent to injured reserve for week 12 or before week 12. So Michael Carter is going to miss one more week. I'm hanging on to Tevin Coleman. Yeah. Bateman and Hines are both drops. If you can get a handcuff for, if you're talking about AB, if you're just talking about like a handcuff in general, and he's got Dylan as well. All right. So you're not desperate to make a move. So don't necessarily make a move just to make a move. But if there's a running back out there who you like that you want to get, I don't hate the idea of dropping Bateman because he's your wide receiver 6.
Yeah.
I'd rather have an RB 7 or 8 than a wide receiver 6. Especially at this time of year.
Yes, but Bateman is a wide receiver of decent caliber to the point where, hey man, before last week, neither of us had faith in Tevin Coleman, and and when Michael Carter Carter comes back, I think he goes right back into the tank.
Sure.
So he's a 1 week play on a week where you're probably not going to play him.
He says he was thinking of picking up P. Ryan or JaMychal Hasty. Drop Hines for Hasty. I would do that.
And I would rather have Perrine than Coleman because Perrine is the handcuff to one of the biggest workloads in the NFL right now, and Mixon just got banged up last week. So if you can go out and get Perrine, if you can go out and get Perrine, I believe it was it a neck stinger?
I know he left with it.
So I would much rather have the handcuff to much rather have the handcuff to Mixon in the playoffs than Tevin Coleman as your last wide running back spot.
Sure. I mean,
that's where I'd be dropping Tevin Coleman for Samaje Perine, and I'd be keeping Bateman.
Fine. Bateman can't be played though right now. Like none of those last 3 guys can be played right now.
Yeah.
Bateman can't be played. Like not that Tevin Coleman can be, but at least Tevin Coleman's probably going to get one more week. That's all I'll say. Bateman is not playable right now. Hines is obviously on bye week, so he doesn't help you this week, so he's safe to drop, especially as the not direct handcuff to Jonathan Taylor and not having Jonathan Taylor. I think any 3 of those guys at the end of your bench are worthy drops because Bateman's a wide receiver 4 right now, who is your team, maybe your team's wide receiver 6, and rather clearly. So if you want to drop Tevin Coleman, that's fine. This is just me personally, at least right now, like we're talking right now, I'd rather have like an RB 7 or 8 than a wide receiver 6.
Okay.
That's just me personally. Yes, Tevin Coleman likely worth a damn, like worth anything by week 15? No, but we're not at week 15 yet. We're still clinching playoff spots this week. So,
yeah. But if you're preparing for the playoffs, I'd rather have Bateman and Samaje Perine than I don't know.
I think because of the position, I think it's honestly, I think it's like they're very similar, right? It's like 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Bateman is, we got to be concerned about him.
I know, but he's at least a viable flex play moving into the playoffs.
Bateman?
Tevin Coleman, Bateman
No,
can be. Bateman can be a viable flex play moving into the playoffs.
That team is losing. That team's losing.
I mean, I'd rather play Bateman over Tevin Coleman.
Sure,
Once Michael Carter's back.
I'd rather roster a running back. They're all three all three AB are.
And I would drops. Too, but I would rather roster a running back like Samaje Perine over a running back like Tevin Coleman. So I'd be dropping Tevin Coleman and keeping Bateman while still rostering a decent handcuff.
I'd add Perine, drop Bateman, and in the event that the news on Michael Carter is not good, Tevin Coleman remains somebody that you can hang on to at the end of your bench.
Okay.
Honestly, AB, I feel like we've both stated our cases on this. Ultimately, I don't think Tevin Coleman is like the utmost hold here, but you're not playing Bateman rest of season, so he's just as droppable for you.
Both of us agree you should be picking up Perine in some form or fashion.
Yeah,
that's what we can agree on. Go and get Perine, because he's the handcuff to one of the biggest workloads in the league right now. And Mixon just got banged up last week, and Mixon coming into the league year was one of the biggest injury risks in the NFL. That's why everybody was off him, because he seemingly gets injured around this time every year. So Perine, go and get Perine. That's the moral of the story. How you do so, it's up to you.
Right. Yeah. How you do so, how you choose to do that is up to you.
And Slim, tied for first in my division at 9-4. Hey, good job. Top 4 teams are 9-4. I'm in a league like that. It's you love to be in competitive leagues. I like that over cruising to the finals any day. 2 bye spots, and I play one in the opposite division who is 9-4. It's too many scenarios to type. A huge week. Fair enough.
Good luck, dude. I mean, what's the if you've got the kicker question.
And the Gallup Pitts AJ Green question. Gallup is still the ceiling play there. So if you need to win against the guy who's 9-4, I'm playing Gallup.
Yeah.
But good luck this week.
Yes,
Surf, hey, thanks for the questions. Glad we could help. Also in a 16-team league with very little options, Devontae Smith on bye. Allen on COVID. Kadarius Toney playing. I have no wide receivers, and if you have any suggestions for a deep wide receiver, all right. So is KJ Osborne out there?
Yeah, Osborne's the first. Is the first
Perryman,
guy up.
Somebody else had Brashad Perryman in the chat rostered. Brashad Perryman is a decent bet for the next few games because we really don't know the status of AB. To Nick's point, he could be out.
Well,
for the
we
rest
know
of the
he's
year.
gonna miss. He's gonna miss the next 2 weeks for sure because of the suspension, and he could just be cut outright. I would say though, like, did Josh Reynolds get picked up? He's Detroit's wide receiver 1 for whatever that's worth. 7 catches for 69 yards. Nice. This past weekend. So he's absolutely viable. And I would is Jamison Crowder out there? Corey Davis is out for the rest of the year. Jamison Crowder, you would think, moves into something of a full-time role with Elijah Moore. So if any of those guys are available, they are viable deep streams.
Yep. Is Toney playing? I mean, he might be, but I'm not. He's not somebody that I'm trying to trust.
Reports. And Keenan Allen could. The report that I saw is Keenan Allen is vaccinated. So He could still turn around 2 negative tests this week, 24 hours apart, and get cleared to play. It feels like anytime this happens, even if it's early in the week, the player ends up missing the game.
To that point,
But
as
it's
if you're looking
possible.
for a streamer wide receiver, Josh Palmer.
Or Jalen Guyton. He's the one.
Jalen Guyton's been he's been getting the touchdowns, but I like Josh Palmer more despite that.
I like Palmer as well, but Guyton was the one who he hit pay dirt this past week. Palmer, Palmer didn't play. He had 1 target, 2 targets, 1 target the past 3 games for Josh Palmer. Hasn't been over 25 yards receiving dating back 6 games. Dating back the whole season.
Okay, never mind then. Well, to that point then.
I thought he was having. I'll be honest. I thought Palmer had 1 or 2 better weeks
when Mike Williams kind of stopped being Mike the best wide receiver in the league.
Right.
I thought that we were seeing a little bit more Josh Palmer. I guess it hasn't been the case.
Guyton exploded this past week for by far his best game of the season. Prior to that, 2 catches, 23 yards on 3 targets, 1 catch, 18 yards on 2 targets. Guyton's not setting the world on fire either, but obviously if Keenan Allen is out, somebody's going to have to step up. So that's a situation where let's keep an eye on the practice reports. If you're on Twitter, check the beat reporters, see who's playing with the first team offense. If it's Jalen Guyton, if it's Josh Palmer, if it's both. Let's have that direct backup potentially in our back pocket ready to go. But if we get good news on Allen,
as far as other options, though, I mean, again, we mentioned KJ Osborne earlier. I don't know who else, man. Kendrick Bourne, is he out there?
I doubt it. He's probably owned in a 16 team league.
He's not playing this week.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He's not viable. I mean, if there's a Packers receiver who got dropped because of the Packers bye week, if there's a Titans wide receiver that got dropped because of the Titans bye week.
Yeah, is Nick Westbrook-Akine out there still?
Yeah, that could be.
He's technically their number 1. Is it, to your question, is Tony playing? I don't know, but I don't really trust him even if he is. I don't really want to play him either. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, they're going to be playing Jake Fromm from the Bills practice squad because both their starting and their backup quarterbacks are out. Glennon is out with an injury. So
he was diagnosed with a concussion. So again,
9
times out of 10, really 9.5 times out of 10, you don't.
I don't like the idea of playing anybody on the Giants this week. Period. I don't care.
It's hard to clear concussion protocols. Yeah, it's hard to clear concussion protocols in less than a week. So yeah, I'm avoiding any and all Giants, and that includes Saquon Barkley.
Davis Mills is going to be playing for the Texans this week because Tyrod is out.
Tyrod is out / bad.
So yeah, that too. So I mean, we saw him earlier in the year throw a lot more than Tyrod was or did.
Yeah.
Could this be a Nico Collins week?
Ooh.
Nico Collins as a sneaky wide receiver there for this week.
Great matchup by the numbers. Or Tennessee, who has a great front 4, but they're leaky in the secondary. Well, if Byard is coming back, that obviously helps them.
Yeah, but he's a safety as well, I believe, right? Is he not? He isn't.
Yeah, he's a safety.
So Nico Collins, sneaky.
True.
Sneaky. If we're going for rookie wide receivers, I'd go him over Palmer, even though we talked about Palmer a little bit.
Collins over, maybe Collins. Yeah, could be Collins over the likes of like Guyton and Palmer. This could just be a week where Eckler absorbs a lot of work if Keenan Allen has to miss, and the running backs in general.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, that list of names, I hopefully gets it done, Surf.
Yeah, I mean, Dwayne Eskridge has been opportunistic for the Seahawks.
What did he do anything last week?
Yeah.
Has he done
3 for 35 and a touchdown.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you're looking for rookie wide receivers who are probably on the wire, who are getting more usage of late. He's one of them, Dwayne Eskridge.
Yeah, 6 targets.
I don't feel super confident in him, but
I would say he's
there.
like, unless you have no other option, but like, sure.
I'm just looking through people's depth charts right now.
Collins, Perryman, Reynolds, Palmer, Guyton are all out there for grabs. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I might say Reynolds number 1, then Perryman, then the other 3 guys are like grab bag.
Yeah.
I would say Reynolds number 1 because he is his team's number 1. TJ Hawkinson notwithstanding. I just use notwithstanding on a fantasy football podcast. Somebody smacked me upside the head.
You did that. You did that.
But yeah, happy to help, sir.
Yep. Itty bitty South City. What's going on? 7-6. Where are you correcting yourself?
It looks like he may have deleted his comment. If you
well, hit us again, bro.
If there's anything you want to talk about, let us know.
You out? We're glad that we could help. All that's left to do now is to win those playoffs. Then yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
We hope you do. If we can help in any way, form, or fashion, let us know.
You're gonna stick with Tony? I mean, I'm just gonna. I think neither of us can advise on doing that though. I would say pivot. I know he had that 1 week, but that's all he had was that 1 week. And with Jake Fromm, I mean, yeah. I mean,
even with Glennon, it was
so
dicey.
you mean he's on your bench? I mean,
okay.
Sure. I guess you can hang on to him, but you're not playing him. And with Taysom Hill, yeah, we can't operate that way with quarterbacks. You can operate that with that line of thinking about injuries with running backs. Totally viable. With quarterbacks, especially one with like Brady, who doesn't run, gets the ball out quick, has a phenomenal offensive line. And Taysom Hill is the one who got injured, not Brady. Taysom Hill's now got the mallet finger, the same crap Russell Wilson was dealing with. Taysom Hill's the one who got hurt, not Brady. I don't care about backup quarterbacks at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you say he's not better than any of the free agent quarterbacks.
You don't need a QB2 anyway.
Yeah, I mean, even in a 14-man league, I know some people double up on QBs. There's probably 8 to 10 starting quarterbacks somewhere on your wire. Even with Taysom Hill out there. I mean,
Brady's as safe a bet at quarterback to not insure.
Taysom would be
than any quarterback.
You say the waivers are full of expletive. Taysom should be part of that expletive.
Yeah, I would drop him for literally anything.
Yes.
You don't need him.
Leave him there.
You don't need him.
Drop him.
Like, again, I get the line of thinking you want to protect against injury. Not in a one quarterback league when you have probably the safest quarterback from getting injured as it is.
Right, and Taysom isn't a slam dunk every week either. It's not like you're grabbing you grabbed a guy who can get you 20 points on average weekly from here on out if something were to happen to Brady. There's no guarantee that Taysom Hill doesn't give you 7 points next week.
His rushing upside is great. It's not enough to offset Brady.
And his rushing upside has buoyed him in the past few weeks because Kamara hasn't been out there.
Right, if Kamara comes back.
If they have a healthy Kamara and a healthy Ingram, that is going to take away from Taysom Hill's rushing floor, which means he's probably going to end up somewhere in the low teens for you as far as point totals go, at which point I'd rather have somebody else at another position. Like a Samaje Perine or somebody like that.
Yep.
Somebody
who's
a
take
league
a chance
winner.
on a flyer running back.
Taysom Hill's not a league winner at this point. Go out and get a guy who could be potentially a league winner at some point.
Yeah, like give me a JaMychal Hasty. Like I don't care.
Your boy.
Somebody.
Your boy. Labyrinth, MVS, KJ Osborne, Rondale Moore, Callaway on waivers. I have Hilliard, Burkhead, Foreman on my bench to play for flex. You need a wide receiver
to play and pick another one for flex play.
Okay.
Those first two.
Yep.
Those first two. Marquez Valdes-Scantling can make a big play for the Packers and far and away has the best quarterback of this group. And Osborne probably has the best opportunity. Rondale Moore is too hit or miss, and Callaway at this point can safely be left on waivers.
Yeah, Callaway at the beginning of the season was looked at as their de facto number one. Now we can't even say that. Now we really can't even say that.
Even if he is, do I really want the Saints wide receiver one?
And
Like,
MVS and KJ Osborne. MVS is more boom or bust. KJ Osborne should give you more of a floor play, so it gives you a good balance of starters if you're starting both of those players off of waivers. So that's the way that I would go too. Iron Never Lies, what's going on? Yo, next year is Javonte season. Next year absolutely is Javonte season.
Javonte top 5 season next year incoming.
And I did not see any college football this past week.
I did, Iron. I did see that. I saw the fake slide. Was it a touchdown run or it was just a long run? Yeah. Pitt's quarterback, faked the slide. Like, he went to go with his. This caused a shitstorm on social media.
I gotta look this up after.
As far as like, was this like this was Bush League or no? This is totally fine. Yeah, Pitt's quarterback faked a slide and then like got back up, readjusted himself, and like ran for at least 15 more yards. I don't know if he scored. I don't know if I saw the score, or I don't know if he scored on the play, but I know he picked up, like, he faked the slide and like the defender let up because defensive player sees the quarterback sliding, has to let up, but then Pickett like
loophole. What's wrong with that?
Got himself up and kept going.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna need to see it. I want to see it, but
the argument in Pickett's favor, to your point about a loophole, is like there's all types of trickery and trick plays and faking things out in football. That's football. There were other people, maybe players, maybe people on Twitter who were either butthurt Wake Forest fans where they played defense back in their day, who said that it's Bush League because defensive players can't hit the quarterback anyway. So like, I'm not like I'm just presenting both sides of the coin. I'm not arguing in favor of that argument. Just what I was seeing.
When Tom Brady you did this a few weeks ago, slides into somebody's shin forcefully with intent on a slide to trip.
I didn't see that.
You didn't see that? Oh yeah, it was when everybody was going crazy that Tom Brady was running the ball, and he had he had that one play where I think he had like a 15-yard run, and everybody was like, oh. At the end of the run, he like aggressively slide tackles into somebody like he's me playing FIFA. Like, it was bad, man. Yeah, so you know what?
So you're okay with it?
I'm okay with it, man.
And hi, Jason. Sorry, I didn't say hi. We were bouncing around. Hello.
What's going on, Jason?
But yeah, I think the majority of people I saw were like, they were fine with it. It was cool. It looked cool. It was like it was a heads up play by the quarterback. Like,
yeah, man, I have no problem with that. I kind of like it. Take advantage of it.
There were some people who were like poo-pooing it, like that's Bush League because the defender has no way of knowing, like, he's going to get back up and has no choice but to let up.
That's smart. I don't care.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I kind of, as far as I'm concerned, I'm like, I don't care. Like, he made the play. Cool. Good for Pickett.
Yeah, I want to go look it up now.
And apparently he did score on the play.
Okay.
Richie, thanks for the assist. But I saw it. I saw the first part of the play. I guess I didn't see till the end of the play where he in fact scored on the play. But yeah, faked out the defender. And here's the other thing. It's a bowl, or it wasn't a bowl game. It was a conference championship game. So we're trying to win at all costs here, right? Like, it wasn't like Pitt was playing, East-West University and they were up 70 points and the quarterback did that. Like, this is a championship game, All
right, we got the last part of his question though. Should I trade Ridley for a first-round pick?
I know Iron, we've been talking about this, Iron. What is your specific? I know you were, so I remember we had like comments about this like a couple weeks ago. I know you're kind of like you were kind of middle of the pack, like on making the playoffs this year. Where are you right now? And where are you right now in the standings?
To me, I think it matters in this. Is the team that you're getting this first round pick from, what year is it in, and what's the state of their team right now? Are they winning? Is it going to be a later pick, or do you have a chance to get one of the first 3-4 picks in this year's draft, or next year's draft, depending on what year it is? That makes a difference here. If you're trading Ridley for a 2022 late first, meh. If you're trading Calvin Ridley,
some argue, to your point. Sorry, real quick. To your point about 2022 being a weaker class, some people contend it's better to have a late round pick or a late first round pick this year than say an early first round pick. But I think the general consensus that I have seen,
it could depend on the format you're playing in and all that stuff.
Yeah, too, right. Yeah, that also that. There's a lot of variables here.
Ridley right now, he's just on the cusp of being 27 years old.
Yes. And
he is perfectly content, seemingly stepping away from football for long chunks of time. Nick, you expect him to come back next year. You expect him to come back in general. Me, hey, anything's a possibility at this point.
Right.
And he
I'm
wasn't
not I'm not in Calvin's inner circle.
He wasn't a wide receiver one like everybody expected that he was going to be this year.
No, he wasn't.
Without Julio Jones and with this whole offense taking a step back, there's no guarantee that he comes back and can replicate what he did 2 years ago. No guarantee.
Right.
Honestly, I'd put more money on him being the wide receiver that he was this year than the wide receiver that he was 2 years ago. I think we saw closer to what Calvin Ridley is. He's not a guy who can generate an entire offense by himself. I think he's a guy that needs somebody on the other side to really realize his full potential. If you can sell him to somebody who still thinks that he can come in and be a wide receiver one at some point, I'm okay with trading him for the right first round pick. It has to be in a draft class that I like, and it has to be a team where, hey, there's a possibility this isn't the 10th or 12th pick in the draft that you're buying.
If you ask for a 2023 pick instead of a 2022, could you get like a 2024 second on top of that?
Something like that. It would be fine. I mean,
I would try to get a little extra.
He's not young.
I still believe in the talent.
At 27, he's not young. The talent is still there.
Should be entering his prime.
Well, this is his prime right now. The prime for a wide receiver is the age 27 season. That's the prime. Yeah. And then from there on, you might be able to string it along for the next few years, and then there's a drop off at age 30. But he's 3 years.
That's 3 years.
It's 3 years until his drop off. If you can get out from under him and get a draft pick or two in a later draft,
I would want to. I would want 2 picks.
And then, in 2 years from now, you got a 22, 23-year-old who can hopefully grow into what Calvin Ridley can approximate moving forward. I don't hate that. Yeah. It's the forward-thinking move. And it's kind of getting what you can get for a guy. I don't know. There's such a huge question mark surrounding Calvin Ridley.
Sure.
I'm not.
And again, this is just, I have nothing to base it off of other than kind of to these points. He's a 27-year-old kid. Like, okay, maybe kid's not the right word. He's a young person who's dealing with mental health issues. Like, hopefully this is something that he can, and
he shouldn't need to come back for the money.
This is a situation where, as much as we hope Calvin Ridley can get the help that he needs, he has the resources available to him. We know that is true. So if he can get the help that he needs, which of course I hope he does, I have no reason to believe that this is a permanent absence. That's all. So I'm not necessarily dying at the idea of giving him up for a first-round pick, as enticing as a first-round pick sounds. A back half of the first-round pick this year was like the likes of Terrace Marshall, Trey Sermon. I don't want one of those guys for Calvin Ridley.
I mean, you could also say a back end of this year was Elijah Moore. Okay. And draft is always a crapshoot. And
it's a crapshoot.
Yes, you can make comparisons from this year to the next year, But honestly, if we're making comparisons from what happened this year to what is projected to happen next year, the wide receivers are the only position that I'm hearing anything glowing about. So if you wanted to make a swap of just getting out from under Calvin Ridley for another prospect, even if it's this year, considering you need a wide receiver, it's not a terrible. I mean, you Garrett Wilson, Treylon Burks. There's a bunch of wide receivers this year who should have decent pro careers. But
Let's move on.
I feel like 1 first is too little for Calvin Ridley, though.
Yeah, I'm not making the trade. Let's move on for the right now help.
Yeah.
But Iron, hopefully that helps. Ultimately, I think I say no.
Try and get more for a later first. Go get a first from a year or two from now, and see if you can add like 2/3 or a second onto it, and just see if you can compile some picks for the future. Considering you're mortgaging, which should be a good wide receiver next year if he comes back and playing. But agree with let's move on here. I hope that helps Iron Never Lies, and we can bring up Ridley for more of a discussion in the offseason for sure too.
Labyrinth, we got you with MBS and Osborne. Those are our picks.
Yep.
Callie, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Kamara should, by all accounts, it looks like Kamara is going to be back this week. He practiced last week. He got limited sessions in. It was a short week, so the Saints ultimately decided to hold him out. They haven't won for over a month, so it's not looking super great for them. But he returned to practice last week. Should come back. The Saints are still mathematically alive for a playoff spot. NFL teams don't mail it in when they are alive for a playoff berth. No. They get the Jets this week. This should be even for the Saints, even a banged up, not as good as they've been before type of New Orleans team. They should beat the Jets. Kamara helps them do that. I think he's back this week. Could be limited. Could be like less work than he usually gets.
But he's one of those guys that can do the most off of 10 touches too.
Oh yeah, you're playing him in a limited role. You're playing him. But yeah, Callie, I think this is the week. I think this is the week. And
start 2 running backs, Callie. Sony, Jeff Wilson Jr., Samaje Perine, Amir Abdullah. The Seattle backfield mess, you have all 3. And Breida. Out of those running backs, I would choose Sony and keep your ear to the streets on the Jeff Wilson situation. If he plays, I would start Jeff Wilson here. If he doesn't, and honestly, we're gonna have to keep our ear to the streets on the Samaje Perine Joe Mixon situation. If Perine needs to make a spot start, this is more of a question that we will be able to definitively answer come Saturday.
Agreed.
Once we get a little bit more clarification on...
You got a couple of situations, where these are very much unsettled right now, and we need to see how practice shakes out this week.
But right now, I'm looking at the first 3 that you named. Some combination of Sony Michel and then Jeff Wilson Jr. and Samaje Perine, depending on how just injury designations shake out over the next few days. But yeah, and honestly, if you have 3 running backs for Seattle, then I would argue you don't have any running backs from Seattle. And those are wasted roster spots.
It could be.
If you're going to keep one, keep DJ Dallas. But I
don't even know.
Yeah. But yeah, we hope that helps. And we will be able to answer your question better, or at least with a more informed answer in a few days. Labyrinth, you're a diehard Dolphins fan. Can I get some Tua support up in here? Dude's gonna break out next year. I mean, he's technically they're on a winning streak right now, were they not?
Dolphins are trending up. Yes, they are. Yeah, they are on a win streak right now. They've won 5 in a row, and Tua has had some good games in that stretch. I mean, just this past week, I know it's against the Giants, but had multiple passing scores. This past or the week before, only one passing score, but a win is a win. Again, oh right, Tua didn't need to do anything because as a team, Miami boat raced Carolina. But he had a big game against the Jets, division opponent. Jets are bad, but call it what you will. A division opponent is
and
a division opponent.
a few weeks ago, he was coming back from injury too. He wouldn't have played. But Brissett got injured in the game when Brissett started, so he came in, finished the job.
Thursday night
ran
game
with the
Baltimore.
he ran for a touchdown, wasn't throwing the ball that well, but but it was because of an injury. He's been playing really very well as of late. He'd probably be playing better if he had Will Fuller out there too, somebody who could stretch the field.
He just got Devontae Parker back, so that helps a little bit.
No, I have Tua in a league that I'm not technically trying to win in right now, but I like Tua for the future. It's in a dynasty league. I like what Tua's done over the past few weeks and over the course of the season. He's really changed the whole narrative around, because there was a period in time there where I was really worried about this whole Deshaun Watson situation, and how that was going to shake out for Tua. But it looks like Tua going into next year should be their starter moving forward without too many questions about it.
Yep.
He's solidified his position there in Miami as their quarterback for moving forward, and
looks like it could be a good division for the next couple of years.
Yeah, as a Bills fan, I don't love the fact that Tua is doing well. I don't love the fact that anybody outside of the Bills are doing well in my own division. But that's neither here nor there. The Dolphins are looking up right now.
They are trending up, and Tua is a big part of that.
Jalen Waddle's a top 10 wide receiver right now.
Jalen Waddle's killing it.
Jalen Waddle, yeah, man, he might finish top 5 in targets. The dude, he's legit. He is legit. So there's your love for the Dolphins.
He's a young Jarvis Landry with more explosiveness.
Yeah, I like that. I like that comp.
I mean that as much of a compliment as I can to Jalen Waddle. Like target hog, but he can make target hog, gets a lot of short and intermediate throws, but he turns them into something. He looks good.
Yeah. So there's your Dolphins love labyrinth. Are you from Florida? Are you from Miami?
From Miami or? Yeah. Always curious to find out where our people are these days, or where they come from.
All right, AB, you were thinking of picking up Perrine and JaMychal Hasty.
Yeah. I think this was about.
Yeah.
Right. This was about Bateman versus Tevin Coleman versus Nyheim Hines, which it sounds like you were going to drop Hines regardless. Plus Devontae Booker. I just don't trust the Giants right now.
No.
You know.
Jake Fromm. That's all we need to say about the Giants.
Jake Fromm State Farm is gonna.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Anthony Garcia, start Landry or Julio rest of season? Landry, and I don't feel great about it, but at least he should be the number 1 wide receiver there, and they find a way to use him in the run game when they're not using him in the pass game, and sometimes he throws touchdowns too. So he's one of the most versatile wide receivers out there.
Yeah, he's a gadget type of player, and at least he's a safer bet to stay in the game.
Yeah, at least he's going to be on the field. Julio, we're not even sure if he's going to be on the field week to week or play to play. So
tough to say.
Landry, rest of season.
Tough to say.
Surf, we hope that helps with the recommendations there. Richie, he scored on that play. All right, hey, I need to go. I need to go and watch that after the stream.
Yeah, the Pickett fake quarterback slide. Yep.
Itty bitty South City. All right, here's your comment. Have PPR 7 and 6. Need a tight end off waivers. Ricky Seals-Jones and Everett. Anyone on bench should be starting. Hill, McLaurin, Moore, Najee, Kamara, Connor, Mooney, bench, Bateman, Reynolds, Michelle, Miami, Tua.
No, I wouldn't swap anybody in from your bench into that starting lineup. I prefer Ricky Seals-Jones over Everett.
You were a huge fan of Everett.
Yeah,
and he has been hot the past few games. Did he do anything last game?
Yeah, he fumbled twice.
Oh, okay. All right, there you go.
Yes, he did have a 2 or 3 game stretch in there where he was playing pretty well. Last week was about as awful as it gets. Seattle this week, who do they play? Houston on the road. Actually, that's a great matchup by the numbers. for tight ends. Houston is well in the top 10 as far as tight end points allowed. Dallas isn't far behind, though. That's Ricky Seals-Jones' opponent. I would say let's keep an eye, itty-bitty, on the practice reports this week for Ricky Seals-Jones. If he opens the week with a did not practice, and this might be this might be like waivers factor in as well.
Seals-Jones target share, consolidated target share.
I prefer that.
Ricky Seals-Jones.
I would say Ricky Seals-Jones for two reasons. One, that the consolidated target share, and two, Everett probably will pass through waivers. So if he will. If he's available after a 2-fumble game, he's going to pass through waivers. Ricky Seals-Jones is trending up with the Logan Thomas injury. So Ricky Seals-Jones is the priority waiver add between the two of them. But Everett should be an easy pickup if it's Thursday and Ricky Seals-Jones has logged back-to-back days of no practice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Ricky Seals-Jones. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, itty-bitty South City. What city is that? What city are you referencing in your name?
South is 650 an area code?
I have no idea. Probably.
San Francisco? Oh, that's right. I get 650 phone calls sometimes from being in California. I should have remembered that. But yeah,
is
650.
It San Fran?
San Fran is 650 area code. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Things I don't know. There you
LA
go.
is like 213 and 914, I think. Yeah, 213.
Well, 914 is New York.
I'm thinking of something
213
else.
might be New York too.
Or maybe 213 is New York. I forget.
Whatever.
There's a million area codes. There's too many damn people here. No, 213. I was right.
Oh, the 213's LBC. Yeah. All right.
And 323.
Snoop Dogg. How did I mess that up?
Oh yeah.
How did I mess that up?
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg 213. I messed that up. But 914 I know is New York.
Oh, he says South San Fran. Yeah, 650 is a San Fran area code.
There you go.
Yeah, 213 and 32. Oh, okay. San Fran's 405 at the Bay Area. Is okay. Got it. That's cool.
Yeah, and I should have known 213. Come on.
Come on now.
Great band, by the way. A little, not band, group.
Group.
Did you ever?
Yes.
213, the group. Warren G, Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg, back in the day.
It's been a while. Might need to throw that on later.
They're fun. Iron Never Lies. What do y'all think about Jameson Williams? Is he in college?
Yeah, he's a college player.
I dig into my college analysis in the off season. I haven't caught many college games this year.
I mean, he's is he even? I think he's a freshman, right? Or maybe he's not a freshman. Maybe he's a sophomore. No, he's actually sorry. He is eligible for this year's draft. Yeah, wide receiver out of Alabama. We will definitely have a breakdown on him in the offseason.
Yeah. We're it'll
be there.
Yes. We will have many videos out on every prominent rookie. We'll try to have a bunch out before the draft, and then we'll reevaluate each of them after the draft, considering their landing spot, and then we'll probably do some touch-ups and stuff as we get into the 2022 OTAs, training camp, mini camp,
right,
preseason, that sort of thing. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on that name for sure.
The Dynasty content will be flowing, just maybe not until February.
Yeah, and we're gonna be doing some Dynasty live streams, and we will. And I've been thinking more about setting up that. What was it? It wasn't Guillotine League. It was Zombie League.
The Zombie League.
Yeah, man. Still want to do that.
Yeah, that'll happen.
All right, Richie. So should I go Seals-Jones over Hooper? Considering Njoku is out.
We missed one by itty bitty. If Henderson is out, start Michelle.
Oh snap! I'm sorry about that, man.
Real quick. The answer is yes.
Yes.
The answer is yes. If Henderson is out and you have Sony Michel,
he's basically a must start. Yeah, unless you have Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon's not playing again.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Didn't mean to miss your question there. I thought it was all
Yeah.
going over
And
the
if
Bay
if
Area
it has
stuff,
to be,
zip code stuff.
if Mooney has to be the odd man out to make that happen, then so be it.
Yes.
I don't want to bench Mooney despite the bad the not good game this past week.
But Michelle,
an RB1 workload,
yeah.
Sony Michelle, yeah, he's starting.
You're playing Sony.
Yep.
It doesn't even matter the format.
Yep.
Richie, should I go Seals Jones over Hooper though? Are you going Hooper?
I would. No, I would. I would go Seals Jones if he's healthy. I feel better about the Washington offense than I do about the likes of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, you never really know which way it's going to go there. And isn't Kareem Hunt going to be back too?
Kareem Hunt is back. Obviously, Austin Hooper with no David Njoku is enticing.
But they still got Harrison Bryant there. He's not going to get the entire workload to himself.
Well, he was
from a tight end perspective.
He's banged up too.
Is he?
Yeah, he's hurt. He's banged up too. That being said,
I really haven't been paying attention to the Browns because they've been such a disappointment in fantasy.
Yeah.
Outside of the running backs, but okay.
The Kareem Hunt is back. But yeah, no, I would go Seals Jones if Logan Thomas is. We expect Logan Thomas to miss this week. Ricky Seals Jones returned to practice this week, so as long as he's trending in the right direction by tomorrow, Taylor Heineke's playing pretty good football right now. Nothing scary about the matchup by the numbers. Hooper has the better matchup by the numbers, but he didn't do anything in this same matchup 2 weeks ago. Yes, David Njoku was healthy for that game, but Hooper quite literally goose-egged. So not something you ever want to see. Seals Jones, I think I would feel a little bit better about.
Yeah, I probably would too. Again, he's
Washington throws to the tight end
and consolidated target share. And
yeah, they're throwing to the tight end.
You can't count on those factors for the Browns.
No, yes, I would
It
go.
could be a DPJ week. It could be an Anthony Schwartz week. They could weirdly get Demetric Felton involved. I really just don't know what that offense is predicated on from week to week outside of their running backs.
Hooper is touchdown dependent.
So he's like every other tight end.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Pretty much.
Fair enough.
Pretty much.
We're still going Seals Jones, so we appreciate it. Who was Seals Jones playing for? Was he playing for the Browns? Who was he playing for back in the day? It was the first team he was with. It was Arizona. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was Arizona.
And then he went to the Chiefs, didn't do anything.
That's right. He was the backup to Kelsey.
Yep.
For like a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, Joe Harris, you get the last question here. We're winding down. Full PPR.
And Itty Bitty, yeah, hopefully
7-6.
Real quick, Itty Bitty, are you in? Is round one of the playoffs this week? We gotta change that, man. You gotta deal with bye weeks this week. If you don't have a
round one during a bye week,
if you don't have a bye week and you have Jonathan Taylor, you're screwed.
That's wow.
We gotta change that. Talk to your commissioner.
Yeah.
We gotta change that.
Yeah.
We gotta bump it out a week now. But anyway, yeah. But either way, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully,
we hope you win.
Hopefully after a win, we're talking again. Sorry, Joe. What's going on? Now we can officially address this.
The players he has to drop are Logan Thomas. Yes.
Logan Thomas,
Mark Ingram, Sony Michel, Patriots, Nick Folk, and the Pats defense needs a kicker and a defense. Would I drop any of these guys for Chargers, 49ers, Saints, Seahawks, and Prater?
Yeah. Logan Thomas can be dropped, assuming Logan Thomas can be dropped assuming that the diagnosis is what we expect, which is extended missed time. Ingram, I'm not dropping. Sony, I'm definitely not dropping. And I want to find I know they're on bye this week, and I know
I want to find a way to keep both Folk and the Pats.
I want to find a way to. I'm not dropping.
They're the highest scorers at the position.
I don't want to drop Folk
units.
or the Pats defense. They are matchup proof. They are matchup proof options. Now that we're past this Monday night game with awful weather conditions, they're matchup proof. Because the next time they face the Bills will be in Foxborough. So
you're 7-6. Is this like a deal breaker, mathematically a deal breaker win for you? Do you need to win to be in?
Logan's a drop, and I would get the Chargers defense against the Giants for sure.
Smart move. But I'm just wondering, do you drop any of these other players for a kicker, or do you roll without a kicker this week if you're pretty much guaranteed a playoff spot?
Yeah, are you like mathematically assured of a playoff spot? If the answer is no, then Ingram would be the other drop for me.
Yes, but I don't.
With Kamara coming back. Not that I want to do that.
I don't want to make that move. But if you got to pick up the win, you got to pick up the win.
Right, the win is the most important. So Logan Thomas is a drop, and of these other options, Ingram is my second drop. But I would really not want. I don't really want to drop a running back of his caliber at this point of the season.
No, even with Kamara coming back, but no.
Right.
Hey, right. Big Kong, we debated him again today. So
we did debate him today.
Yeah, he said, hey, we might debate him again. We might debate him again in 5 days. You never know. 4 days. 5 days. But yeah, all right, we've come to the end of the chat. Thank you for everybody who has thrown us a chat, thrown us a question. Thanks for everybody who is in here right now. Yeah. Big Kong, sorry you just joined in.
Or maybe not just joined in, but just commented. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we are at the end of this. Hopefully this helped. If you have start sit questions, if things are in flux for you, again, Saturday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern, and then Sunday before the games, 10 a.m. Eastern. We can help after practice reports, after a full week of practice, gives us a better idea on some unsettled situations as of right now. Any waiver questions we maybe didn't get to, feel free to drop them in the comment section. We can.
And if
see
you have any,
advise.
If you have anybody that you want, if you want like a deep dive on a player before the weekend, before the Thursday night game, something like that, throw it in the comments too.
Yeah, let us know.
And we can try to get something out for you. But hey, Big Kong, sorry to be joining us late and we're leaving. But hey, you have a good night too. Everybody in the chat, have a good night.
Yeah, everybody have a good night. Hopefully this helped.
We will see you in a few days.
See y'all Saturday for Start Sit Help. Have a good one, guys.
Peace.